What I'm supposed to talk about is the ViaMetro project, Whitaker-Burmite project, and a resolution called DS-12. DS-12 is put on the Whitaker-Burmite property that there is to be no development or building on the property, the Burmite property, until the soils are totally cleaned up and certified that they're clean. First part of this year, as I was driving down Soledad Canyon Road, I noticed some work going on the Burmite property, right next to Soledad Canyon Road, next to the Metrolink station. And the first thing was they put in a new fence, and it was very opaque, you couldn't see behind it. Then the next thing I see is a guy standing up in this tree, cutting this tree down. A couple days later, then I see they've moved in heavy equipment. So I started making some phone calls and asking questions. The Department of Toxic Substance Control knew nothing about it. Called, emailed the city. City called me back, said, oh, we don't know anything about it. The planner for the Burmite property, James Chow, said, oh, I don't know anything about it. I'll have to get back with you. So then he calls me a couple days later, and he says, oh, yeah. I said, I'm afraid they're putting in the Paseo Bridge from ViaMetro. So the thousands of people from ViaMetro that run across Soledad every day to take the train have a safe way to get to the Metrolink station. And he said I was correct, that they're putting in the Paseo Bridge, and it's the terminus of what they're doing is on Burmite property. And it's because it's a off-site public benefit or something of that nature, that it's possible. Well, I said, well, isn't that a violation of DS-12? And he said, well, I don't know for sure. So we've done some checking. Of course, yes, it is a violation of DS-12, but this project was okayed by the city council back in 2006, which I found out last night. But it's been put on the back burner until they completed the ViaMetro. And what my conjecture is that Newhall Land is putting pressure on the city to get the ViaMetro completed by putting in this bridge. So we were told that they're so far along that there's really nothing we could do. There's no way we could sue them or anything like that over this project encroaching on the Burmite property. Granted, it's just a small piece of the Burmite property, and it's really just a little portion. But the last time they took a little portion of the Burmite property was over in Golden Valley Road, when they put Golden Valley Road through, and they took a piece of Burmite property by eminent domain, and that cost the city $21+ million in a settlement. They mortgaged City Hall to pay for it. So that was just a little piece over in Golden Valley, so now this is just a little piece. So last night I addressed City Council, and I told them that we would appreciate them informing us if they've got any other plans going on, because DS-12 still is in effect, and they're not supposed to be touching any of the property whatsoever. The bridge is going in, and like I say, all 4 people from ViaMetro that walk across to go to the train station, because ViaMetro was built so that it connects to the train station so people could take the train to work. But I don't know the exact amount, but I don't foresee a whole lot of people, but it's supposed to get people from one side of Soledad to the other. It's going in. It is a violation of DS-12, and the CAG is going to we're going to try and keep better eyes on what's going on. I will bring it up to the next multi-jurisdictional meeting. We've had 2 multi-jurisdictional meetings when the city's already proposed this, but nobody ever said a word about it. And no word was said until I actually asked questions. Otherwise, they weren't going to say anything. So I will bring it up at the next multi-jurisdictional, which is March 8th. And everybody's welcome to come to that one. That's 3:30 in the afternoon. The next CAG meeting will be March 8th at 7 o'clock in the evening at the Bouquet, the United Methodist Church on Bouquet Canyon.
Can you tell us what CAG stands for?
Citizens Advisory Group. And we're actually the state's mandated the Department of Toxic Substance Control for any projects that they have, that they're supposed to have a CAG for each of their projects. So we're the Whitaker Burmite CAG. And so that's the reason we're around, is because the state says we're supposed to be around. So, but we don't have any funding. I talked to a state representative about 2 months ago, and he asked, would funding help? And I said, well, of course it would, but I haven't heard anything since then.
So what's the cost and who's paying for it?
Newhall Land's paying for it. And I think that's the reason they're being pushed through, is because it's already, Newhall Land has already said they were paying for it, but so that's why they're putting the pressure on the city to go ahead and do that. The city granted an easement. They received permission from Burmite Recovery LLC, is the bankrupt company that owns all the Burmite property. They gave them permission the city granted the easement for that area so that they can put the end of the bridge over there, build a ramp from the bridge down, and then a walkway over to the train station.
In 06?
Well, it was granted in 06, and but it's just recently started at the first of the year. It's supposed to be the permit that we got. The permit that the city sent us was blank. I thought that was really kind of interesting, but then I had a reporter from the Gazette do some investigating. He got me another permit that was filled out, and the city gave him the excuse that they had a computer glitch as the reason they sent us the permit that was blank. But the permit that we received was all handwritten, so I guess the computer just had to write the permit by hand. But anyway, the permit's good through the end of May, so this project should be done by the end of May. Rick?
I'm just trying to wonder, what besides the fact nobody's using the bridge, what's the downside of using this small piece of the property?
There really is not a downside. It's more a principle thing. Where the CAG is supposed to keep an eye on the cleanup and all this. Our fear is that if they start to cherry pick the property and start to take a piece here and a piece there, that the total cleanup will not be completed. There is a light at the end of the tunnel towards this, but it's still 12, 24, even farther months away to clean up. They're well on their way cleaning up the soils. OU5 has just been cleaned up, but they've got a lot to do. It's taken a long time so far. They wanted to be done this year. Now they're saying it's going to be done in 2018, 2019. It changes all the time. But like I say, it was just a small piece. It's really the principle that the city's just taking something because they can. And but DS12 is on the property, and if we would have found out about it sooner, we could have probably even stopped that for that. But I think it's Newhall Land's putting the pressure on the city to get this done so they can complete that project and get out of there. Because Newhall Land, basically, the next thing Newhall Land wants to do is Newhall Ranch. So, yeah, I always said it, it's an insignificant part of the Burmite property, but it was an insignificant part over on the other side in this Burmite Recovery LLC that owns the property. They're the ones that sued the city when they took their piece of property on the other side in Golden Valley by eminent domain, and they received a $21 million settlement plus attorney fees. The cost is over $28 million.
Aren't they legally bound to clean this up? So why
Well, they're legally bound to clean it up, but we don't want them taking any shortcuts and finish, it's costing a lot of money, and we don't want them to take any shortcuts on the thing. Yes, ma'am.
What is DS12?
DS12 is a resolution made by the city council back in the late 90s when they did the Portobello project. They okayed the Portobello plan to put housing up on top of Burmite property. They okayed all the plan and everything else, then they were sued. There was a lawsuit. Lawsuit said they can't develop you know, they can't do that. They still have the plan, and that's what Department of Toxic Substance Control has used, and that's the basis they're using for the grading and how far down they dig to clean the property, is the portobello plan. It's the only development agreement they have. It has expired. DS-12 was formed because of the portobello project. So DS-12 has been in effect since the 90s. And it's there so that they don't start cherry picking and taking a piece here and a piece there, and then things won't get done. So anyway, the bridge will be in, so when you want to walk from ViaMetro over to the train station and back, you'll be able to run over to catch your train.